right, everyone. Thank you guys for joining us today. We're gonna have Alexander here, an M4 right here. Why don't you introduce yourself, Alexander?
Well, hello world. I am Alexander Zeba. I'm a fourth year medical student here at Indiana University School of Medicine. Also the founder of SafeImaging, which is a very nice medical imaging company that I've recently founded. Basically, we're making non-radioactive CT scans with ideally twice the resolution of MRI.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool. So tell me about yourself. We all have gone through med school. We've all had our different journeys. I mean, you founded a whole company that's doing pretty well, it seems like, doing cool things. How did you go through your med school journey? How did you become the person you are today? How did you succeed at med school? How did you do well on your boards? How did you do well outside of med school? Yeah, if you can start like how you started out your journey.
Well, those are a lot of questions at more or less the same time, so I'll try and
Yeah,
do them one at a time as best as I can. So I think that really comes down to a big variable that truly matters is your motivation, right?
sure.
Why is this journey worth it in the first place?
Mm,
That's the first question to answer. And for me, it's that there's the stereotypical stuff of, okay, I like science, I like engineering, I like medicine, I like helping people. So why
mm,
not put them all together and become a doctor? There's that also. But I realized that when I was shadowing and when I was volunteering in the lead up to medical school, I noticed that there were a lot of issues. And you notice this even in clinical practice. Every single treatment, every single imaging, every single anything in medicine is a cost benefits analysis,
yeah.
right? So we have certain benefits that we expect the patient to get and certain disadvantages that are going to happen as a result. And I
Hmm.
asked, what if I could help make that better? Not
Hmm.
just in the clinic, but also inventing the new frontier of medicine.
Hmm.
Right. And so that's always been a fundamental motivation of mine. I had that in mind right from the get-go.
Yeah,
So finding your why, finding your motivation for doing these things is going to be critical for determining all the steps that come afterwards.
sure.
Right. And from your willingness to study late nights, all the time, doing all the work, it's going to depend on that integral motivation.
Hmm.
So it's paramount to have that before you get to medical school and even while in medical school and long after.
Gotcha.
Um, how'd I study for medical school things? Find the most efficient means. Always find the most efficient means possible. Doing the most amount of stuff in the least amount of time. For me, that was Anki. So for a lot of the second year classes at my school, we had these pre-made Anki decks.
Mm,
And so principally through Anking also. And so I would just download them and I would find that it worked out really well for the coursework.
really?
Um, what I really found is that it's very different from undergraduate,
Hmm.
right? So undergraduate, typical person that's going to medical school, they want to get the A's, right?
Yeah.
They want to get the A's and the high grades. Medical school doesn't work that way these days. It's pass or no pass for a lot of the courses in first and second year. And we
Mhm.
have a saying at my school, P equals MD.
Yeah.
You just got to get through it, man. That's it. You don't need to shoot for 98%, 95% on the test if,
Yeah.
80% will do,
Mhm.
right? So it's important to be pragmatic about these things because that affects your quality of life,
Mm.
right? Because medical school throws a million and 10 things at you all at the same time. And
Mhm.
so knowing that I can prioritize the things that are high yield on the tests
Mhm.
using resources that are not as time intensive as like watching lecture all the time, that'll be wondrous for your mental health and physiological well-being.
Yeah. True, true. So basically, you're saying you prioritize the most efficient, effective ways to study or for your school. Now, I know you mentioned Anki, but like, was there anything else you did besides Anki? Did you watch specific third parties? Did you do specific questions that helped you?
No, actually, I didn't. For the first 2 years, I did not. Um, well, technically studying for step tests, I did UWorld. UWorld is extremely helpful for studying for boards, step one, step two, even step three once we get there.
Hmm.
Excuse me. Um, so that's when I really use those. I didn't use like Pathomo or like third party resources like that watching videos. And I did at first, but I found that it was less efficient than just going through the Anki cards, reading them, understanding them, unsuspending them, and then just keep doing them until it makes, concrete sense in a way that you understand.
Gotcha. So you started doing the questions basically for the boards and stuff. That's when you,
Yeah.
Okay.
Y- Yeah, that's the only time when I was doing questions. Again, what's important to understand in medical schools, everybody has a different studying
Yeah,
technique. And
yeah.
you're going to find that lots of people say, oh, this works. This is the best way to do it. It's got to be the best way that works for you. And
Gotcha.
everybody's going to have a different answer to that. Just make sure that's the most efficient one that allows you to prioritize mental health and physical well-being.
Did you do your entrepreneurship journeys outside of medical school starting like way early on, or did you get into that late?
So this has been something, so entrepreneurship has always been a priority for me. I've always had it in my sights, metaphorically speaking, since the very beginning of undergraduate.
Hmm.
But I've gotten to really pull the trigger on it, really starting in third year. I started to develop some things. Um, and on that topic, if you're going to do some type of inventive
Mm-hmm.
uh, business venture, it's important to get a waiver from your school of medicine, an
Hmm.
intellectual property waiver, because otherwise they will own a percentage of that. So that was one thing that I did very early on before I got started with really any of this, got a waiver from them. If you use university resources, they're going to own a fraction of that intellectual property. So just be prepared for that.
Hmm.
Um, but it's a real passion because we have the opportunity to change the frontier of medicine,
Hmm.
change how patients are treated,
Hmm.
and truly make a difference in patient care. And that's something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you said you got started third year because you've been thinking about it, finally laid down, and you laid your foot down and got started third year, right? How did
Yeah,
you do
yeah,
that third year with clinicals?
yeah. It was later on in third year. It took some time for me to get my bearings in clinical because each clinical is different. Each one's going to play out a little bit differently. You have a different preceptor, different course setup, different assignments.
Yeah.
So it always takes some time to get your footing on those.
Hmm.
But I felt like after I had enough clerkships under my belt, I was able to know more or less how this thing's going to play out and just put a little bit of time each day aside to research some things online. Start looking up how to assemble a prototype. Start looking up, how to make this thing come together. It doesn't happen, all at once. It's
Yeah.
just a little bit every day, every day. You put a little bit more into it. And
Mhm.
eventually you reach the point where it comes together. And that really happens in fourth year. They say fourth year is best year. And that's not an exaggeration. You got a lot more free time. And at least at my school, there are none of those NBME tests. So that
Yeah.
certainly frees up even more time.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. So while you were starting that, had you taken step two yet?
No,
No, no, you
no, it
had.
was before step two.
Okay.
But I run a fairly unique strategy when it comes to studying for board exams. It's as I said, I did Anki, so I'm
Hmm.
just studying all along. So when it came time to study for like step two, I was just doing what I've done all along. That's
Gotcha,
really
gotcha.
it.
So you were
Nothing really
scoring well
changed.
already.
Well, I also have a bit of an unorthodox way of doing things in which I don't do practice tests.
Okay.
And this is going to sound very atypical. I find that they just make me nervous and anxious. And so for people that are looking to take these board exams, you're going to find a lot of people saying, oh, well, my practice test was this. My practice test was this. For me, they just made me nervous. I never took them.
Hmm.
And I'll have you know, I scored 246. I scored very well for internal medicine, which is what I'm going for.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I just was never comfortable taking the practice test. So if that describes a viewer that's listening to this, there's
Yeah.
at least one other person on earth
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that shares that.
Yeah. That's true.
So
That's
don't get nervous when you read those things online or hear from friends. Believe me, it's all going to work out. You got to have that confidence. It's all going to work out.
gotcha, gotcha. So having that confidence is what puts you through all of this, that, somehow it's gonna work out and you're just gonna keep pushing yourself every day. Is
In
that
a matter of speaking, yes. I think that's certainly helpful in staving off the anxiety and everything else that goes along with these board exams and the whole medical school experience. There's a lot of imposter syndrome and there's a lot of worrying. Everybody's afraid that you're going to fail out or you're not going to pass the test or the board exams aren't going to work out. Just remember, it's all going to work out and it's going to work out well. No
yeah,
matter what the outcome is, even if it's not an outcome that you want, you as a person will be able to pivot to make it the outcome that is still desirable.
yeah.
So
Oh,
just have that confidence in yourself.
gotcha. Okay. And then I heard you mention you want to go into internal medicine going forward. Um, what, how do you see yourself playing out this entrepreneurship journey that you have with internal medicine residency, which is one of the more rigorous ones? Where's
Well, you prioritize. If something's important to you, you make it a priority in life, right? And that's why I always say it was no different in medical school. Medical school was never easy. There was never a single course in medical school that was easy. Never a single test in medical school that was easy. Residency, not going to be easy. Nothing is. Nothing worth doing is easy.
yeah,
But if something's a priority for you, you make it happen. Right. And that's what I did with SafeImaging. That's what I'm doing with some other inventions I have going on concurrent to the medical school course load. Because as you experience these things more and more, you get used to dealing with them.
yeah,
And they become easier to take down over time.
hmm,
And that's you gaining efficiency. As you gain efficiency, you get more free time. How you budget that free time determines what you achieve,
hmm,
right? You can spend it playing video games, watching TV, and I mean, I suppose that's useful in moderation, but consider doing great things with
hmm,
that spare time, with that added efficiency.
gotcha.
Consider that you can actually make a difference in people's lives and you can do great things, you as a person.
Hmm. What keeps you like in like other terms, what keeps you sane during these busy times? What keeps you like, what gives you peace?
I never said I was. I'm joking. I'm joking. What gives me peace? Well, trying to balance your obligations, be them in entrepreneurship and medical school,
Yeah.
you got to make time for yourself,
Mm,
right? So for me, that comes with talking with family. I talk with family every day. I'm originally from Long Island, New York,
sure.
and I speak with my family every day. You know,
Mm,
it's not like how it was in previous centuries where you'd have to write and, maybe
yeah.
they get the letter in a few weeks or months.
Yeah.
No, these days we can use Signal, do video chat
Yeah.
instantly,
Hmm.
instantly. So I see them every day. It's not the same, obviously,
Yeah.
but, you get at least to see them, to speak with them, and that's certainly helpful in staying sane. I hope that that helps at least some of the out of staters that might be listening to this.
Yeah.
Um, Take time for your hobbies, take time for whatever you find fun.
Mm,
Stay physically active. Find an exercise, go to the gym, make the time for it. Again, if something's a priority, make it happen. For me, I enjoy playing Battlefield 4. I'm top 1% in the world for that one. Best
wow.
Battlefield probably ever made.
Mm,
Yeah, I play some real-time strategy games on PC, namely Empire at War, Command and Conquer Generals, Rise of the Reds.
okay.
Uh,
Okay.
so take time to do the things that you enjoy.
Yeah.
Hang out with family, play games, watch TV, whatever it is gets makes you joy. Don't waste time on social media. That's I'm sorry, I don't think it's a good way to stay sane because there are a lot of studies linking that to depression. When you're on these things, it seems like time just evaporates. That means time's not being spent well.
Mm,
You should be savoring the moment and enjoying your time.
that's true.
So spend it on things that you truly and thoroughly enjoy.
Hmm. I like that. I like that. Before we like end this conversation, I think this whole time we've been giving good advice, but let's say there's someone getting into medical school tomorrow, someone's about to start. What would you tell them? Maybe in a few sentences. What's all of your advice combined to them? How would you tell them what to do? They're starting.
Well, for starting, I would say you're going to make it.
Hmm.
No matter how it seems right now, no matter how daunting it looks, you're going to make it. The vast, vast, vast majority of people that make it into medical school make it,
Cool.
and
Hmm.
they thrive either during or afterwards. It's a real mix. Reach out to upperclassmen, specifically the ones that know the most efficient tips and tricks to win,
Hmm.
and there are those in your class or in the upper class. Reach out to faculty. They might know a thing or two, but really focus on reaching out to students. Look up any resources specific to your school or otherwise that will make it easy for you to learn the content as efficiently as possible. And lastly, and this may not be a massive priority in the beginning because, it's really survival mode in the start, try to keep your eyes open for things that are inefficient, for things that can be improved, because you can improve it. And these things that go wrong or go sideways, you can be the person that does that and changes the world.
Yeah, I like that. I think a lot of people are going to get some good advice from this. Yeah, thank
Well,
you.
thanks. I sure hope so.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. Um, the whole point of this is to, help the future medical education people going through it, future doctors. We need plenty of doctors in this world, and we're seeing too much. People are struggling. People aren't passing their boards. People are just even scared to apply now because they always hear these horror stories. And it's like it's great hearing from someone like you. You might have untraditional study methods, but you have a great mindset. That mindset probably will help anyone get through all of them.
Well, thanks. I definitely appreciate that. And anything that I can do to help people understand the process and thrive throughout it is going to be a plus because medical school is very difficult.
Yeah.
And anything that can be done to make that even a little bit easier for people is something that I'd be interested in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us and really appreciate this. And if anyone has any questions, please leave them below in the comments. And Alexander wants, we can leave his contact info as well below. And thank you again.
Indeed. Thank you, Kartik. Good day.